bom dia e bem-vindo ao nosso canal Quinta, Fonte, Pipa. Hello, good morning and welcome to our channel Quinta, Fonte, Pipa. Peço muita desculpa, não foi o meu vídeo na semana passada. I apologize that there wasn't a video last week, porque a minha mãe fica muito doente e também por causa da chuva não podia fazer assim muito trabalho por fora da casa. My mum was quite ill last week and unfortunately due to the rain we weren't able to do much work outside. E hoje nós fomos ao Branco arranjar algumas consultas para a minha mãe e buscar algumas peças para o tractor e para a bomba de água. We are going to Central Portugal to make some appointments for my mum. We are also going to pick up some pieces for the tractor and for the water pump. So I'll take you along with us. So I've just come out of the parts place. So for those of you who've been watching the channel for a long time, you will know that my dad's tractor makes the most hideous noise. So we have got the correct size fan belt, so let's hope he's happy with that. And the place that we go, which is always extremely reliable, is Metro Car in Central Portugal. I've just been into Ophidia to book a few appointments for mum, and we have to come back on the 16th and the 17th to make some tests. But I mean, at least it's soon rather than in God knows how many months' time. So we are going to head home and we're going to check on Dad. As you saw yesterday, I bought Dad a fan belt, so he's now going to put it on the tractor.
Woohoo! And this is exactly the right size. Because you adjust the alternator like that. See, it's gone slack. But this is only so long, this bar with a slot in it, and it's on maximum, and yet the fan belt won't go tight. So
that's because it's the wrong size, yes?
Yeah, it's too long. Now time to tighten it up. It should be alright. It might want adjusting in a minute when it's run for 10 minutes, but it shouldn't be too bad. Right. And even after charging the battery yesterday, I went to start it this morning, it just started, but the battery's still very low. The battery might be dying. I mean, the tractor's now, when did we buy it? 2015, so what's that, 7 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old? Be pretty good if it's lasted that long, the battery.
To collect one of the generators that we have down there so he can use that for spare parts to fix something he's fixing.
After a day in the workshop, it took me quite a while. I got it all back together okay, but the carburettor wasn't working properly, and I cleaned it and I still couldn't get it right. I had an old petrol generator which uses the identical engine, which had stopped putting out power. I had that down in the Lister pump barn. I went and collected that the other day in the tractor in the bucket, and I took the carburettor off of that, and I've cleaned that, and then I've swapped it onto here, and it works. So thank you very much, Mark, for the parts. Although I can't believe it, this bit went on okay, but this one, the bolt holes were ellipsing the holes on here, meaning that they were, you know, not quite over the top of the other one. So I had to drill out the aluminium new piece here, which thankfully worked. So not too bad. Although, as I'm talking to you now, I've just noticed a hairline fracture there in the case at the bottom. Yeah, there's a hairline crack in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I think it'll be alright for the moment. I can always repair that at a later date with some chemical metal or something like that, but ironically the tank in the back garden which feeds our house has run out yesterday, so we went last night with no water in the house. So I need to get this running as quickly as possible. You will have seen in the other videos us using the fire trailer pump to make the water sprayer work. I'm going to do something a little bit different with that. Well, one, the trailer needs to go down to where I normally have it in front of our other tank that fills naturally, and so I can hook it up down there and I can pump the water up to fill our tank in the back garden, and the fire truck will stay for that use. This one is going to be purely for irrigating the farm, and I'm hoping to show you this running in a minute and operating the sprinkler, but I'm going to connect the hoses up in a slightly different way this time, and hopefully I'll have more pressure from the top tank. So let's see if this fires up again this morning, because it's cold. It should do. It fired up very well the other day. There we go, so that's running. I'm going to whiz off around the front. I've got to take the cutter off the back of the tractor, and then I've got to put the tow bar on just to move the trailer down the farm, and then I need to put the cutter back on it again so I can carry on cleaning some of the fields we've got with dry grass in it, and I'll explain a bit more when we go round to the front of the house. So let's go on round there. So as you can see, that's the old generator I've stolen some parts from. I've pinched the carburettor from it, so that'll be a spares engine. It's incredibly hot. It's 9:10 and I'm beginning to sweat already. Poor Sandra's gone off to the hospital for the second day in a row for some heart tests. The doctors are a bit worried that she's got an uneven heartbeat, and it might be due to all the tablets that she's taking, which is it's not good. So she's off for another scan today. But she went yesterday, and the night before yesterday she told me that there was a clicking noise coming from the drive shaft on the van. There's always something in there. So I had to get up super early yesterday because her appointment was actually at 12 AM in Castelo Branco, and I had to take the whole CV joint apart yesterday, and I've re-greased it. It's actually a new one from about a year ago, and I think it was just a lack of grease because I couldn't find anything wrong with it. I've re-greased it, I've put everything back together, and she said yesterday it drove perfectly. But the tractor, because it's been giving me a few problems, was parked slightly further out, and I had to drive the truck out of here and go out of the driveway to give the truck a quick test drive before the girls obviously drove off to Castelo Branco. And the morning just got worse, didn't it? Well, I'm going to say it, I'm really pissed off with myself, to be quite honest with you. I came out of here yesterday very, very slowly, as I do, and the truck got down to about there, and I heard an almighty bang. And when I heard the bang, I mean, it was really loud. I thought the drive shaft had snapped, but it hadn't. I caught the side of the truck on this huge, great, beautiful granite pillar, and I've snapped it clean in half. That's where the hinge on the side of the truck just caught it, and the shockwave cracked it. And I'm not sure if I can fix it. I'm not in a very good mood with myself this morning. I've got to take the cutter off the back of the tractor, I've got to put the tow hitch on, and I've got to drive into the back garden where we left the trailer last time when we used it to irrigate the field, collect the trailer and run that down to our other tank. So I'm gonna go and get on with that now.
Good morning everybody. We are currently in Castellabranco for day 2 of Mum's doctor's appointments.
And we are at
Ophelia.
Ophelia.
Do you want to explain what it is?
Can people see me? Okay. It's your GP sends you there for certain tests rather than having to go to the main hospital in Castellabranco. And yesterday, you hold those, Mole, I had done an echocardiogram. It was a bit like an ultrasound on my heart because my doctor's picked up that I've got an irregular heartbeat. So today we are here for an ECG simple. So I think that's just an echocardiogram, isn't it?
We're here a little bit early, but it's better to be early than extremely late.
But this is yesterday's
Results.
images. I don't know what any of them mean. I have to take them back to my GP. That's what we're up to today. We've left Alex at home. He's filling the tanks up with water for us, and something else he's doing. I don't know, but no doubt you'll see what he's up to.
Sorry I've got the tractor running. I've still got a bit of a battery charging problem, even though I've put a new fan belt on it. I need to take the battery off, fully charge it, and then I need to test it to see whether it's just a lack of charge or whether the battery's actually on its last legs. I've just stopped here next to one of the upper terraces here next to the house, and I'm going to leave the fixed water pump and some fuel here, and then I'm going to go off and take the cutter off. I've just realised the tow hitch, the tow bar, is at the top of the farm, so I've got to go up there first to go and get that. And there's the tow hitch. Now back down the bottom to take everything off and get the trailer on. The tank running empty couldn't have happened at a worse time. 2 more days' time would have been perfect, but that's life. We're in the back garden now. And the plums are starting to come out on this one. There's some turning ripe there. The pears are growing to a decent size. Not many pears this year. Normally this thing has hundreds on it. I'm going to take the cutter off, leave it here in the middle of this field. Then I'm going to get the trailer on, which is over there. But before I do that, I'm going to go and get myself a nice ripe plum. Look at that lot. Very lucky. Oh, that one's ready. Look at that. That just fell off. Lovely and ripe. Oh. Lovely. Again, sorry the tractor's running. It's typical. I get rid of the squeaky fan belt for you all, and then the battery, I've got to keep the engine running. Sod's law. The other week when we were irrigating the land and using the trailer here, I swapped the pipes over at this junction of taps here, which I've now put back to how it was originally. and this green pipe that I was using to feed the pump on the trailer is now going to be used to feed the new pump that I've just fixed. So you'll see me put that together in a second. But let's get this trailer down to the tank on the other side of the road and start pumping water up to fill up our tank for the house. I'm not going to water this field. I want to cut that grass and then plough it. And here's the one that I have sown, which is what I want to water today. Growing quite well. Right, well, we're down at the tank that always gets filled naturally. And I'm happy to say it's still running at a good rate and it's good clear water. I won't bother showing you me hooking this up, but we'll see the water come in the back garden at the tank, and then hopefully we can get the little green pump running and irrigating the freshly sown field that I've just shown you, to get that to grow up a bit. It rained about a week ago now, about 8 days ago. There was a bit more forecast, but it hasn't happened. And with the intensity of this sun, the ground is drying out pretty fast. And the more that I water that, the faster it's going to grow. So that's what I want out of it. As you can hear, the pump is running. It's been going for about 3 or 4 minutes. And I've got to wait until this has filled our tank behind the house. I've been trying to think how to explain it to you guys, but I'm using one pipe. There's a black pipe over there, which the pump is pushing the water up. It goes up the side of the wall there, it goes under the road, up the wall there. Then it goes into the garden in a back tank, and it can continue on up to the big tank. Now I've got to wait for this to finish, because I'm using the same line. Once I've filled the back tank, I can change some taps, and then I can open the tap from the big tank at the top of the field, at the top of the farm rather, and use that water. Will come down, it'll feed the pump I've just fixed, and then I shall use the water from the large tank, which is filled by the lister pump, to irrigate the land at the bottom. Sounds a bit confusing trying to explain it, but I know what's going on, and I guess that's sort of what's most important really, isn't it, that I know. But I'm trying to get you guys to understand it, but I don't think it's going to be too easy. It can even be a bit confusing for me sometimes. You have to stand and think for a minute which tap to open and which one to close. So it's probably about 10 o'clock now, and it's warmed up. I am literally shiny with sweat, and I've hardly done anything, to be honest. But I've walked around quite a lot, which is enough. So I'm going to shut the front gates, then I can let the dogs out. So yeah, I'll let the dogs out, and then I'm going to have a shower and then a cup of tea, and a little bit after that hopefully that tank will be filled and I can get on and start editing this, the video that you're watching. Let's hope Sandra has some luck in Castelo Branco, because I'm quite worried. I'm very worried about her. Okay, tea time. Hello Farmer Eddie, you're a good boy. What you doing, Dad? You're a boy, Eddie. These fittings here come with plastic fittings, which you'll see in a minute, that screw on. And the bit that goes in the tubes is all different sizes, and it's an absolute nightmare to get these to link up to these fittings. And now I hope this will screw in here, this isn't the right way to be doing this. I need to think of another way of connecting these more quickly to these. And now I'm going to have to twist this whole tube. Oh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? And obviously the pipe's coming out at the wrong angle, but it'll do for the moment. I just want to get this watered. I don't know if you can see how dry it is. There's still a few bald patches in there where they haven't popped through yet, or I didn't seed it well enough, because when we did that field we were very low on seed. Normally all the fittings on the farm are these metal ones and they're tapered, but these aren't. These are the butt joints and they need a rubber seal to fit onto this bit here, and that has caused me, the two different types of fittings has caused me an absolute nightmare. This is the outlet.
And this is your recycled water pump?
Yeah, thanks to Mark, we sent us a donation to buy the new bits to fix it. If I turn this on, water should come out by your feet.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no it won't. I've got to go and... I explained yesterday, I'm using the same pipe to push water uphill that I'm now going to use to bring downhill. It means I've got to go and change some taps. Right. You don't fancy doing it for me, do you, Mol? So I can be here for this when it...
The one in the back garden?
Near the gate, in the little hole thing, yeah.
Which
The
one?
one that's facing coming this way.
I'm looking at
Well,
it.
you're looking in the hole in the ground.
Yeah.
You've got one, there's two sets, just make sure that they're open, that the water can come down.
Through the main tee.
Yeah, come
Okay.
down to the tank.
Okay.
The one that's in near the gate, yeah? Not the one behind the tank. Bless Molly, she's wandered off to go and open the tap I was just explaining about. It's almost how I want the pump. The metal frame it was in was so badly smashed to pieces and everything, I'm not going to bother using it. I'm going to make something else to stand the pump on. So here comes the water, bless her. Yeah! And I said yesterday in the video that there might be a fracture in the pump. There is. So I'll have to fix that once we've done this today. I just hope it's not going to suck air in, but...
The tap you've just seen me turned on didn't go as planned. The water went in the back tank. So Dad's got another job to fix first.
Well, I've got to add because otherwise when Molly opens it, the water going down to the pump, this hasn't got a tap on it, it's coming out of here rather than... And I've just managed to salvage and botch together this, which I'm hoping is going to work, because otherwise I'm out of other fittings. Oh, of course it would be. That's not the right ring to go in there. What's going on now? Oh, back to the shed again. It's the problem with a big old place like this. Yeah. Why is that not going in there? That is bizarre. Right, I've got to go back to the shed again. See you in a minute.
So Dad's fixing tubing and my cat's playing with a snake.
What is he? I've not seen those markings before. So about an hour and a half later of faffing around like nearly always, I've managed to get that fixed up there. Won't bother showing you. That's working just under the pressure coming out of the top tank, and now I'm going to start the pump.
So, a little update on Mum as she's got her results back. More bad news, the left side of her heart isn't relaxing properly. So we've got more doctor's appointments next month to see the updates on those results and what we're going to do from there. On a more positive note, Barry, our kitten that we rescued from the dustbin, we have renamed him Dennis because he is a little menace. And he has now become Dad's best friend and is spending most of his time with him, and the dogs love him. And I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our new Patreons that have subscribed this month. So thank you to all of you guys.
I won't attack them mob.
You about ready for a cup of tea?
Oh yeah, I certainly am. Oh, just noticed a join in the barbed wire there, look. From the factory. We could make that a bit better. So, the goats, what it's with them, I don't know, but I've caught them twice in here now since it's started to grow up. And obviously I don't want them in here yet. They were, this got a bit, where the wild boar had come in and they're pushing against the fence, they often make it saggy. The goats are then walking along this wall on the outside, because then they're standing at this height, and they were jumping over this section of the fence the other day, and when I chased them out they jumped out over this bit. So I've just retensioned the fencing, I've re-tidied the corner, and I've put 2 strands of barbed wire on the top now, so it's that much taller than it was. Now I don't think they'll bother coming in. The old famous word, they shouldn't get through there now. So I'm a lot happier it's going to keep them out. So we need about another 7 weeks, something like that. You can see where they've been eating some of the leaves off. I don't know if you can see they're chopped off. Hopefully that's another job done. I can just feel drops of rain on my arms, which is about spot on, because Molly and I ran the sprayer again this morning. About right, isn't it? But
I can hear him. Let's go find him. I believe he's cutting this, then he's going to plough it, and then we will reseed it like we've done the next terrace down.
normally what I had planned was to finish clearing the land that's behind me on the large hills over there where I'd cleaned. There was one little area when the tractor broke down on me about a month ago. I wanted to clean a pinch point that's there. With the land that I've prepared to sow the seed and the way that the fire bands change, etc., the temperature, for the last week I've been able to plough the land and use my tools all day long, because the temperatures have dropped slightly, and with all the rain that we've had, the risk of fires has been reduced. Tomorrow it goes back up to high, so me having the time to go over there with the cutter on the back of the tractor and trim the last bits of the overgrown area over there is going to have to wait. Both things that I want to do are just as important as each other. Cleaning over there for the fire is important, and it's helping clean this area, but also feeding of our goats is important. Now, because this is why some things get delayed and some jobs don't get done, because you might have heard us in other videos saying, oh, we're planning to do this, and then you might have noticed that in future videos that's not even been touched. It's because of things like this. So today I'm going to spend the last of today ploughing a field I've got over there, and I've got one right down over there near the river, which I've already gone down and cut the grass 2-3 days ago, which I'm hoping the sun would have dried out the last bits of grass, the last little bit, so they're fully dry. So when I run the plough through there, hopefully the grass will break and it won't get clumped up in the plough that I've got. And that's why things change. I just thought I'd explain that, because to some of you it might not seem that apparent why, but that's exactly why it is. Unfortunately, the fire risks change, and every day I'm checking the dial and seeing if I can cut and if I can't cut, and at the moment today is okay, but tomorrow for the future it looks like it's going to be no more working after 11 AM. I'll be able to get some bits done, but it restricts the hours that I can do it. So anyway, let me go and get on with the rest of my work and see if we can get some more seed planted for these goats. Can you believe that? The day I fixed the fan belt after a year running like that, I checked the battery yesterday and it's knackered. So I've just had to jump start it from the truck, put the leads away, and I'm just about to top up the tractor with some more fuel.
Alex is about to come into this field and plough it. Molly and I managed to get a sack of seed that we needed. Took us 4 different shops and nowhere had any. Molly went into the last shop on her own. They said they didn't have any. However, one man had ordered 4 bags, and they said because Molly was so beautiful, they would sell her one of the man's sacks of seed. She went to pay for it and she said she nearly had heart failure. It was over 90 euros. She said she didn't have the heart to say, oh no, it's too expensive. So Alex is in here now to plough this, and then we'll get the seed in.
I'm in the front field and I thought I'd show you what the land looks like after I've passed the tractor on it half a dozen times. Looking a lot smoother and cleaner, but I've realised through doing this I'm going to take this tool off, which you'll probably see in next week's video, and I'm going to attach that to another similar little cleaning machine that I actually made. But as you can see, the plough lifts up when I'm using it, but this doesn't, and what it means is each time that little, we'll call it a rake if you like, the little tool I've made for the back of my plough there, each time that fills up with grass I have to stop the tractor, physically get off it, lift it up, manually pull the grass out by hand. And what I want to do is, if I weld that to the back of another tool, I'll swap it for the plough, and then I can physically pick the whole thing up, the grass will fall on the floor, and that way I can make a pile in the corner of one field rather than me having to go get off the tractor and keep getting off and emptying it. Because as you can see, there's piles of the dead grass everywhere where I've been cleaning it out of the tool. As you can see, there's quite a lot of it built up there. There's a few more piles down there, and what I don't want to do is I don't really want to leave that there like that. Fires, always going on about fires, but if a fire comes through here, that's going to burn through my posts, and it'll help burn through the hoses. The hoses aren't meant to stay there, I need to take them away, but you get the idea. I don't really want to be leaving piles of dried grass everywhere. We'll pop down and have a look, see how that's growing. After getting on top of a few of the problems that I've had, like the battery not starting, etc., which I've actually got to go and get a new battery for it now, but that's a simple fix, isn't it? Just swap a battery over. But in true Quinta Fonte Pipa style, I really just don't believe this. You may well have seen, a lot of you will have seen in a video a few months ago where we had to split the tractor in half and fix a problem in the gearbox. Tractor's been working absolutely fine, and then I noticed the other day there was a little line of oil in the driveway. And when I stopped for my lunch the other day driving the tractor, there is an oil leak. I don't know if you can see the damp patch there. It's leaking out the bottom of the bell housing just there, which is the clutch. But what's strange is that we didn't take all of that apart. We only took it apart here. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the ins and outs of it, because even I don't know what it is yet. But do you know what I think I'm going to have to do to fix it? Split the tractor in half again. Pretty depressed and fed up with that, finding that wrong with the tractor, but what can I do about it? It's there, I've got to fix it. I can't keep driving it around with it leaking oil. So one, it's not good for the land, and the price of hydraulic oil at the moment, it's going to cost a fortune to keep filling it up. So all the jobs on the farm, what am I going to do about them when I've got the tractor split in half? It's just anyway, let's go and look at something a little bit more positive in the lower field. So a little update on how the field that I sowed 3 weeks ago now, roughly three and a half weeks ago, how it's growing. Might not look like much, but I had two different types of seed left over in my barn. I had a cereal, which I'm not quite sure whether it was wheat or oat, but it's something very, very similar to that, and the Sudan grass. And the Sudan grass is very good for the goats, which we like to sow for them, because you can feed them on it 3 times and it will actually keep growing. So you sow it once, you get 3 different lots of feed out of it for the animals, which is very good. Now this finer looking grass here, is the cereal crop, which will be the wheat or oats. You can see the taller stuff growing, some of it over here, and this is Sudan grass. It's a very good grass to feed the goats with. I need to let that get to about 3 feet tall, and then you can graze the goats on it and they can eat everything apart from these last 1 to 2 nodes at the bottom here, and then it will regrow, and it will regrow 3 times. But it's very fast growing. You can see how much quicker it's to grow than the the cereal crop, and that's what I'm going to put in the field I've just prepared up there. I mentioned earlier in the video about one of the fields that I've cleaned lower down. I'm just going to quickly go and show you the size of that field, and I'm hoping now, with the problem with the tractor, when am I going to do it? I really want to get that sowed as soon as possible. So I'm going to quickly take you and show you the other field, which I've already cut the grass down on because it was extremely overgrown and tall, but not with a good grass for the goats. It was oversown and grown with nature's recovery of the land, just a lot of junk. The goats were going in there, but they were only eating certain parts of it, and the majority of the field is unpalatable for the goats. So I've cut it down. I want to plough, basically do the same process you've just seen me do in the other field, and sow it. And it's a field that is right next to the river. It might need watering just to set the seeds off, but once the seeds have started to grow, that field really shouldn't need any irrigating, which is during the higher parts of the year. Like now, I want to get those fields sown by the river, because then we don't have to water them as much, or probably hopefully won't have to water them. So the other thing that's good with this Sudan grass that I've just shown you growing in here is it's very good in drought conditions. So any water that you do give it makes it grow like crazy, which is it's a really good thing for the goats and for us. So here I am down at the field which is close to the river. Don't know if you can hear the waterfall in the background. This was higher than my waist about 4 days ago, so I've come in here and I've cut it as low as I can. I've cut it in 2 separate directions as well. And what I've just said about the field being moist and doesn't really need watering, you can see there's green growing out of this already. There's bits of green growing out everywhere, and it's actually damp, this soil. Now, it might not look it to you guys, but that is not tinder dry. There's moisture everywhere. Hopefully the camera will pick it up, the little green flashes everywhere. I cut this about 3 or 4 days ago. It's going to make it a bit of a pain to plough, because all this grass growing is going to leave big balls, etc., which is why I rake it afterwards. I'm just wondering, by me topping it like this, it's actually a lot of grass, but I can't remember the name of it now. It's almost like an invasive grass that grows in rhizomes, and it can be a real pain to get rid of once it starts, but the goats actually like eating it. But that's what seems to be coming through and back all on its own. So with the problem I've got with the tractor, I'm just actually, after showing you this now, I'm wondering whether I leave this and just let it regrow, or whether I try and spend the time to clean it at this time of the year. I might be better off till winter. Right, well, that was just a quick show you that I'd come down and clean this, and I measured it the other day, and this is about ½ an acre, this field, so it's not a bad size for the goats to come down and munch on.
So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will see you back here next week.